Hey, welcome back to Panther Pedigree, where the hope is high and the trauma runs deep.
That's right. Every May we hit the reset button, we delete last season from memory, and we just act like we didn't finish 5-12.
Hey, new storylines, new OTAs, and the coach who's actually made it to year 2.
So let's get into it. Top 5 things we're watching as the Panthers try to turn the corner again.
Let's ride. Hey, Swift, we're back again. How you doing, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. Excited to give our guys our pedigree another video. Excited to jump into it.
Absolutely. What we're going to go is we're going to go over our 5 favorite storylines heading into the 2025 OTAs. But before we do, we were taking a look at our numbers, and it looks like about 72% of our viewers aren't even subscribers. So here's my question. What are you waiting for? We clearly know what we're talking about. We love our Panthers, and we want you to be along this journey with us. All right. So we want you to do us a favor. While you're listening, go ahead and hit like. I want you to comment, right? What you're going to comment is you're going to tell me what thing you're looking forward to the most in OTAs. And then I want you to subscribe. And after you subscribe, go ahead and hit that bell notification, because what that's going to do is alert you and let you know that we have a new episodes that drop. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and get started. So Swift, might as well go ahead and jump in strong. So first story, is the wide receiver room finally a strength? With the new additions and young talent developing, what are we expecting? So why don't you, since you're the former wide receiver or budding wide receiver, why don't you tell us what we got?
We'll call former, current, up in the air, TBA. TBA. Yeah, so I mean, I think the wide receiver room is in a lot better of a spot than it was last season. I think they definitely made a strong emphasis with that, getting McMillan with the first pick.
Yeah.
And then also signing Renfro.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it a strength. I would see a strength as like our offensive lineman, our offensive line, where we invested into it. We went and dropped the bag. But I wouldn't say it's a weakness either. I actually see it as strength from like a depth perception. I think we have a very deep wide receiver room.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to pan out well for us down the stretch. I mean, football is an injury prone game, I guess you could call it. So injuries happen. So I feel comfortable that, even if we drop a guy or two, I think the depth is our strength there.
No, I'm glad you mentioned depth, because right now, here's what we're looking at. We look at, like, we have Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, like you said, Hunter Renfro, David Moore, Dan Chisena, Bryson Tremaine, Jacoby George, and TJ Luther. Now, funny thing about TJ Luther, we just picked him up because we just did injure wave to Mishin Muhammad III. And I was actually reading earlier with Mike K that if he clears waivers, we'll be able to add him to the IR so that he'd be able to be brought in anyway. So, and then
Nice.
obviously we have the number one Nalo Tetro McMillan. So, I mean, would I say it's a strength, Swift? I don't think you can call it a strength until we see something, right? Like, it looks good, right? Like, it is what it is, right? We have guys that have a lot of potential, and we really can make some stuff happen. But my thought is, I'm wait and see here. I'm totally wait and see here. If we can make a couple things happen in preseason, if I can see what we look like in some of these joint practices, I may be willing to change my mind on this one. But I'm gonna go TBD, to be determined.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. There's a lot of it's a young core, so I think there's a lot that we have to see first to kind of determine.
Oh, absolutely. Don't want to forget Mr. Jalen Coker, Jimmy Horn, and then there's Kobe Hudson. So, I mean, we have a lot of depth. We have a lot to pull from. Jimmy Horn is looking like, early returns is everybody's loving Jimmy Horn. Like, between his speed, his route running ability, his football IQ, he's staying 30 and 40 minutes after practice during the rookie camps. Again, we have a lot of potential, right? Like, we have a lot of potential energy, but let's see if we can make this thing some kinetic energy, right? So we get this thing, in motion when the season gets started. But Yeah, not to beat this one over the head, but I mean, I'm in the TBD. I'm gonna to be determined. Where do you sit, Swift, on that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go same
Yeah,
TBD.
yeah,
Kind of what I was saying earlier. I think there's a lot of potential, like you said,
yeah,
a lot of young talent. We with a mix of veterans
yeah,
that we kind of already know what they're about. But this is the first time we'll be seeing them all play together. How are they gonna like who are gonna be the 2, 3 guys
yeah.
starting? How does that rotation work?
Absolutely.
Um, and how is that gonna complement Bryce
Yeah,
come week 1?
absolutely. So I'm going with our next storyline. Can our defense avoid another historic collapse? After last season's letdown, did the Panthers make the right moves to tighten up the D and find their identity again? Because you and I very well know that the times where the Panthers are their best is we have historically good defenses. I wouldn't say great, but historically good defenses. Like, when you look back in the annals of time, they're some of the top teams that the Panthers have put up there. Last year, we were far from it. And matter of fact, let me go ahead and bolster some of this information for you. So, when it comes to our scoring defense, we rank 32nd out of all 32 teams in 2024, averaging 31.4 points a game given up. Now, I'm going to let you know. I did say in a previous episode that there's an asterisk here because we did add an additional game. So when you set a historic record, I have to go look for some things that make it not hurt so bad. But there's been never a team in NFL history to let up that many points. All right. And it was a total of 534 points we allowed. Now let me go ahead and further bolster last year's number. We also ranked 32nd in the NFL in rushing defense, allowing opponents to gain 3,057 yards. It was the worst in league history. I mean, the worst in the league. And then for per game, it was 179.8 yards per game. But wait, there's more. So in 2024, for total defense, we also ranked 32 out of 32, averaging 404.5 yards per game given up. We all talk about 32 in scoring defense, 34.4 points a game, and third down defense, allowing 50.2% of the conversions to happen. Bad news, man. Are we on pace? Could we possibly be worse than last year? What do you think?
No, no. I mean, because 32 is the worst, so you can only get
You know
better. I
what?
mean,
Facts. Okay, so you
even
already
if
got
we're
me smiling.
30th, even if we're 30th, man, shoot. Nah, I don't. Um, I really like getting Morig, and I
Yeah,
think
Trayvon. Yeah,
the idea of us also getting another safety.
yeah,
Again, the pass rushers that we brought in through via free agency and the draft. And I just don't, knowing the kind of coach that Jure Evero is, I can't see him having another output like that on defense.
yeah,
I think they got guys specifically that are going to fit the scheme. And I mean, before these guys even come in and they're signing these guys, I mean, I can imagine Canales and Evero are sitting down looking at these free agents, and Evero is kind of handpicking
yeah.
what kind of guys would work perfectly within his scheme.
Absolutely.
Situational, third down, pass rush, 3-4, who can step
Yeah,
back and be in the second level
yeah,
coverage wise, or just playing the run game.
yeah,
So I feel really good about that. I think they also brought in another linebacker.
yeah.
Forget his name is
Roseboom, Christian Roseboom.
Roseboom. That's who it was, Roseboom.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, they made a lot of additions. So
Yeah.
that mixed with hit Evero's coaching, I don't see how they could be worse.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to tell you. So I'm gonna agree with you. I would say that we're going to be markedly improved. Now, one of the biggest things last year that we were missing was that interior presence with Mr. Derek Brown, Mr. 100 tackle, interior tackle Derek Brown, setting actually a good record for interior tackles, where he broke the century mark in tackles, and that was in league history. It's as long as they've been measuring the interior tackle number. I would also say that, yeah, the linebacker room, I'm not overly impressed. Again, I think I'm going to go TBD with the linebacker room. And that would be mostly inside linebacker because I kind of end up jamming the edge into the outside linebacker, and then it kind of falls to defensive end, especially in that 3-4 scheme. But with the edge, I think that we've obviously improved by adding Nick Wharton and Princely Uman-Mielen. I think that's going to be a vastly improved edge rush. And even just from a youth standpoint, again, I can't speak out of both sides of my mouth saying that, we added wide receiver talent and that's TBD. And then I go say that we added, 2 rookies and say now all of a sudden that's great. Well, I'm going to tell you, you couldn't be possibly worse than what we did defensively. So I think anything you do, as long as you're not adding interior talent, you're going to be that much better. I mean, adding Patrick Jones the third, adding Turk Wharton from Kansas City, as a depth piece, because you shouldn't have a guy like Shai Tuttle on the interior line playing more than situational. He was definitely playing more than situational.
Right.
Again, with the cornerback room, and we locked up Mike Jackson and we locked up J.C. Horn. It's very promising in the cornerback room. I'm a little worried about cornerback depth, as far as high end cornerback depth, but I'm going to hold out those criticisms because I don't want to predict injuries and things like that. And it said JC is taking a turn. I'm going to focus in on that safety room. I thought adding Trayvon Morig and then Lathan Ransom from Ohio State was a great move. But again, going back to your previous point, you're adding similar players. But what they're also saying is that Lathan Ransom is being undervalued on his coverage skills, and I'm willing to say, yeah. I mean, I did see a couple of Ohio State games, and I can say that his coverage is not being as touted as his box safety play. But again, if you're trying to stop the run, that's what people are going to emphasize. If you're a box safety, you're going to say, okay, this guy's coming up, he's making stops in the run game. Now, what I will tell you is I wish the Panthers would stop playing around and go ahead and sign Blackman from the Colts, because all I can tell you is Blackman and this is quoted by Sports Illustrated, he offers a versatile option as someone who has experience playing safe in the box and in the slot, and he has a nose for the football. He has 10 career interceptions. Now, Blackman might not find a better opportunity than Carolina at this late stage in free agency. I would say that both parties need to stop messing around. His agent needs to go ahead and get this deal done. Go ahead and add this man to our safety room so that he can get entrenched into the system. I wasn't a big fan of this because this also happened. We were, when Baker Mayfield was tied to the Panthers, and it was just like this waiting game, and then it was like, who's going to be the starter, and we played that whole game. I want to get this stuff done, man. I think we're so late into the year. I mean, we're opening OTAs here. We need to stop messing around. So if I could say anything to Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis, get this man signed. Stop playing around. All right, we freed up money by letting go of Jadeveon Clowney and restructuring, doing the restructures that we did. Let's go ahead and bring Blackman in and go ahead and bolster that safety room a little bit. Now, as far as the numbers, I mean, any improvement is some improvement. I'm just going to say what you're saying, but as you look at it, you get Derek Brown back. Let's play the he stays healthy game. Let's play the JC stays healthy game. Let's play Mike Jackson. Doesn't take a step back and just plays what he did last year. All right. Let's say that the linebacker room doesn't get decimated by injuries like Shaq Thompson going down, and then our boy Josie Jewell in and out of the lineup with injuries. Let's say that we some stability, and now we're going into year 2 with our boy from Kentucky. Help me out.
Trayvon Wallace.
Trayvon Wallace. He didn't suck. He wasn't great, but he's going to year 2 and he has a lot of upside. So let's take out the instability in the linebacker room. Now you've bolstered the defensive line. You've bolstered that edge rushing area. You've given a little bit more depth to that linebacker area. You've shored up your safety, not your safeties. You shored up your cornerbacks by giving them long term. At least JC with a long term deal. You brought Mike Jack back on a shorter deal, but again, you have stability there. You're bringing the same guys back in the same system. Now you need to just lock up that safety area and go ahead. I don't want to overstate it, but I believe this can be a top 20 defense. Like if the injury bug doesn't bite again for the second year in a row. What are your thoughts? What do you think will top out?
I was going to go a little bit higher. I was actually going to say top 10, top 15, given your exact statement.
I don't hate it, right? I don't hate what you're saying. I feel like I'm a little bit more of a pessimist because we were so bad last year. But I
Right.
mean,
Absolutely.
I'm not afraid of top 10, top 15. If you get top 10, top 15, and then Bryce plays anything like he did the last 9 games of last year, you're talking about a decent turnaround. I mean, and I would say across the boards. Um, you have anything else on the defensive side?
No, you
Okay.
kind of took the words right out of my mouth there.
Listen, I didn't try to. I didn't
I
try
was
to.
no, it's all good. We just think the same.
Now, story number 3, out of our favorite storylines heading into OTAs. Will Bryce make the leap this year? It's year 3 for the franchise QB. Can he show the consistency, poise, and growth needed to be mentioned among the league's rising stars? You go first.
Um, yeah, I'll kind of build off of. I believe I kind of talked about it a little bit in like a previous episode. I just think um, him being in the system for another year with Canales, um, letting them continue to grow that relationship, and the way he spoke about it, even like during Super Bowl week,
Yep.
um, it makes me feel really confident that he is going to make that leap.
Yeah.
Um, you trust in him to um, you value his opinion in the draft,
Yeah.
and he had his eyes set on a receiver. You go get him a receiver that he wanted.
Yeah.
You pretty much keep almost all of your offensive weapons. You
Yeah.
add another running back, 2 running
Yeah.
backs. Um, I just feel like the confidence is just going to continue to grow.
Yep.
I have a really good feeling it's just going to pick up where it left off, which is really promising. So I actually feel really good about Bryce's upside, and
Absolutely.
there's been a lot of reports that he's like a sleeper player, someone that's going to be like a boomer, a year 3 boomer, but like
Yeah.
just like an underrated player that's going to kind of show people.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me again, I'll be the stats guy today. So Pro Football Focus has an awesome article that was written on January 25th, and it talks about Bryce Young's resurgence. So Young's second half resurgence was a shock to many. The former number 1 overall pick looked dead and buried after being benched by the Panthers in the first 2 weeks of the season, but Young got back into the lineup following an injury to Andy Dalton after that weird whole car accident situation. Thank goodness him and his family are fine. Young had 22 big time throws now in the second half of the season. That is the second most in the NFL. And he finished with the 7th most big time throws in 2024 for 27 big time throws. His grade from week 1 to 9, he was a 51.5 QBR. I'm sorry, this is a Pro Football Focused proprietary grade. I apologize. And then from week 10 to week 18, his grade was 86.4. So he had a 35-point jump, just under 35-point jump. There's not many sample sets for guys that make this kind of jump in season. I can't think of any player. I've been watching NFL, uh, since I was 5. And I can't think of any player that's made this kind of a leap mid-season and goes from, honestly, I mean, Pro Football Focus said it's right. He looked dead and buried. It looked like it was like going to be one of the biggest busts next to Jamarcus Russell. And then he comes back and he has, like, I mean, you multiply those numbers across an entire season. I mean, he's probably in like the lower part of the MVP conversation. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I think all signs point that he's going to have a better season. It's year 2 with Dave Canales, right? Like you can't go wrong, right? Like Dave Canales is a quarterback whisperer. I mean, all signs point that, Bryce Young's, mental fortitude and Dave Canales's quarterback guruness has, resurrected a what once thought dead career. The support of Andy Dalton, which I thought was one of the more unheralded moves, is to bring Andy Dalton back on a team-friendly deal so that him and Bryce can continue that bromance that they have. And I think the support everything. I mean, quarterback, we talked about it in the past. It's a mental game, like, so, and I think it's only going to help Bryce's mental having as much stability and support as possible. Them trusting him to give him a say and being vocal about his say and not going, well, no, that was our idea. I think telling us that Bryce was pounding the table for Tet McMillan, I think that's a big vote of confidence from Dave Morgan, Dave Canales, and Brant Tillis. I don't hate the idea that Bryce could be, I mean, dare I say, top 15, top 10, top 5 quarterback this season.
Top five. Top five would be, that's bold, but I ain't mad at it.
I'm hitting my bold. I'm hitting my bold right now, but I mean, what are your thoughts, man?
Dang, top five. Top five. Wow. That one got me speechless.
Right? Like, I mean, I may sound like a total homer. I may let the NFL's, hope train, bowl me over, but there was very few quarterbacks playing as well as Bryce down the stretch last season, arguably when quarterbacks need to be playing their best football, right?
Right.
Especially the quarterbacks in playoff contention.
Yep. I mean, he took two of the Super Bowl teams out
To the limit.
to the wire. Yeah. They
To the
took him
limit.
down to the wire. Made some
Absolutely.
big time throws.
Yeah.
If the Eagles game was in Philly, was on the road,
Sure was.
backs against the wall, and he just made big
Xavier
time
Legette
throws.
comes up with that pass. That's a loss.
Yeah.
XL dives and catch that pass. It's a loss. Like the Eagles are losing. There's not enough time for them to do anything.
No.
So,
Yeah, no,
I
they
mean,
walk out of Philly with that win. So like the moments just don't get too big for him.
yeah.
And just the word I'm gonna keep like batting at is just confidence. Like you see it in his composure.
100%.
And he just you can just see he's starting to understand it.
Yeah.
And down the stretch he had big games. So I mean, why not? Why not Bryce Young?
Ready? Well, didn't we have something like why not us? Like, yeah, I think absolutely.
Why not us?
Right. So now, how about Bryce Young's coach? What kind of year 2 leap can we expect from Dave Canales? Would be our 4th favorite story going into the camp. The head coach showed that some flashes in year 1. He matured enough to lead the team to a real NFC. Can he do it? Can he lead us to a real NFC South relevance? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, the roster on paper is vastly improved.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to play calling, I think he can be a lot more comfortable now in the play calling that he makes. He has a more, I mean, the relationship with him and Bryce Young are going to continue to grow. It feels like he has made a name for himself. That's a little bit just feels a little bit different about the relationship with him and ownership with David Tepper. It doesn't seem like he's on, the fire, like he's on thin ice. I
Yeah, no,
guess
the
you could
hot
say,
seat.
for lack of a better
Yeah.
word, the hot
Yeah.
seat. The
There
hot
you
seat
go.
was the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like he's on the hot seat. I think he has this is like a full off season for him,
Yeah.
to really dive in as a head coach and really just embrace the process, going to the Senior Bowl, scouting, talking to these players. I mean, I call me biased. I think there is a great chance that he can also make improvements. I mean, play
Oh,
calling,
100%. 100%.
time, game clock management,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
player development.
And then like the play call menu, right? Like I felt that there were times that he either didn't trust Bryce to run it or he didn't have it in the book. Some of these calls that you see, especially like third down calls, things where like you see teams like, so again, we go from a Frank Reich system where there's almost no motion from the wide receivers to a Dave Canales system where there's a lot of things happening, but there still felt like there was like limitations to the things he was doing. And again, it could be a trust thing because, like, I mean, and the one thing I keep pointing to, and you and I talk more about this off air, is that pop by Andy Dalton. It's he gave the whole playbook to Andy Dalton for the Raiders game, but he held back for Bryce. And then I feel like by the time we hit Atlanta, when Bryce has that 5 touchdown like barrage of touchdowns, by then he had given Bryce the full playbook. Do you think there's anything to that?
I think, I mean, it's hard because I mean, we're not exactly in the locker room, but I think
Right.
there's things that Canales knows, about
Yeah.
Bryce and like
Yeah.
kind of like his state of mind in that moment,
Yeah.
and where he evaluated him in the process of learning the playbook. I mean, and
Absolutely.
his comfortability with it. Maybe he might have felt like it was just too much for him too
Yeah.
early. He might have put too much on his plate,
Yeah.
and just still trying to figure out who Bryce Young is. I
Right.
think with other players that we've seen him work with that have made a huge jump in their career, like a Geno Smith and a Baker Mayfield,
Yeah.
you already know what they're about because they've already, made their stamp in the league.
Oh,
And
100%.
so, he doesn't really have much to go off of Bryce Young aside from his rookie year.
Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit of those few points that I made. Just a
Yeah.
young player learning each other, and then just, I mean, he's in the locker room with him. So, I mean, I think he knows better than anyone if, he felt like he was ready to take on, as you said, the full playbook.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. Yeah, and we aren't in the locker room, so we really don't know what's going on there. But it just felt weird. Like it felt like just
Yeah.
something off. Like, but I couldn't
No,
agree more.
absolutely.
Now, so before we hit our final favorite story of going into the going into the OTAs, I'm sorry. Um, do us a favor, right? Like again, I said earlier in the video that 72% of our of our viewers are not subscribers. Like, why you peeping? Stop peeping. Like, come on in. Well, we got the door open. You ain't got to peep. So what we're looking for you to do, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment, and tell us what you're looking forward to most when the OTAs hit. All right. And then while you're doing that, hit that bell notification because that's gonna tell you when we drop our new videos. All right. So do us that favor. All right. And again, we wanted to say thank you to those who've been subscribing. We are seeing a great a great growth. I'm super excited that our last video, the schedule reveal, did extremely well. As far as our videos, it is the number one out of our 18 episodes videos that has done the best, the fastest. So we're so thankful and we're so blessed that those who are watching it, even if you're not a subscriber, just become one. All right. So back to story Cinco. So did Carolina do enough this offseason to matter? From the draft to free agency, it's time to evaluate whether the Panthers have finally have the roster to compete in the wide open division of the NFC South. So I think I'm going to lead off on this one, Swift. So
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I look at is that even still, when you're looking at pundits, because we watch so many videos and we watch so much content, even with us, putting BTA to Atlanta, and I can't you can't say BTA because I mean Penix had a touchdown barrage as well, but I'm gonna say it's still BTA because it's
You're gonna
Atlanta.
say BTA.
We don't say
Bryce
BTA.
Young put BTA to that
He
defense.
put BTA to that defense, and our defense was already bad. So Penix could have slept walked through. So I'm not even going to give him all that credit because Atlanta needed that game to win. Now, granted, they did get knocked out because Tampa won, but Atlanta going into that game needed it. I say all of that because most of these pundits are still putting Atlanta ahead of us in the division. So if you look at a aggregate of how they have the NFC South shaking out in the 2025 season, they still have Tampa at the top, and I guess you have to say that until you lose it. They got to get the champs their due. Then they have Atlanta. Then they have Carolina, and then they have the lowly New Orleans Saints, who may not have a QB worth starting when the season starts. But no harm, no foul, New Orleans fans. I feel bad for you. We've been there before. How do you feel about us being listed as the third best team in the division? And right now, our win total per Vegas is 6.5. What are you feeling, Swift?
I mean, I don't like it because we finished 5-12. So, I mean, as rough of as a season as it was, with the ups and downs, not really having, you know, Bryce for, I don't know, 2/3 of the season or a third of the season.
Third of the season, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're basing that off of because I feel like there were so many moves in the offseason, so many changes roster wise, even within the staff. Um, how could you put one more win than what they had this year,
Yeah.
given that the amount of close games that they were into this year with as beat up, injured of a team as we were, and just limited, I guess you could say. I mean, not having a fully confident Bryce, and those other factors I really named. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it, Vegas.
No, I'm not a fan of it either. Like I know, hey, and by the way, fans, go take a look at our schedule reveal show because Swift and I, at the end of the episode, we pull out the Panther Pedigree record predictor and we do our own little review of the schedule. And I thought we had some really interesting results. So when you get a chance, go take a look at that video as well. So again, that's Panther Pedigree presents the 2025 schedule reveal. And you to see what we came up with as far as win totals. And I can say it definitely wasn't what Vegas had. All right. So my thoughts are I think the pundits have it wrong. I would say that yes, I can rationalize giving the champs, the number one spot in the division. But what about that article I sent you, or no, it was just a predictor, a playoff predictor. I believe it was NBC Sports. One of their writers did a playoff predictor, and it had the Panthers finishing fourth. So that means that
we were hosting.
and we were hosting. So that means we won the South. So at least someone out there isn't so out on us. And it's a major network at NBC. But I thought it was really interesting. But I think the pundits have it wrong. I don't think the Bucks got better, and I can say that confidently. I think their defense is aging. And I think their wide receiver core is aging. I think Mike Evans, yes, you can call him timeless, but man, there's wide receiver drop off can happen almost instantaneous. Will he be there to make those spot catches? Yeah, but he spent quite a bit of time out of the lineup last year. And yes, he did go for his multi-consecutive 1,000-yard season. I get it, but man, what it took to get him there was crazy. So I don't think the Bucks got better. I think if any year they're vulnerable, I think they're the most vulnerable this year that we've ever seen them because they did not get better. They're going through the third offensive coordinator in as many years. All right. So I'm really, really not as high on the Bucks as some people are. And as far as the Falcons, like I'm not seeing it. I mean, I think Penix is a wonderful talent. I think the Falcons for the second year in a row mishandle free agency and their drafts, and they signed a quarterback after signing they drafted a quarterback after signing a quarterback to a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal. And then this year they go and give away next year's draft pick just to jump back up in the first round to grab a edge rusher that I think would have been there in the second round and they could have paid a lot less for. I think that the Falcons are going to be stuck in this purgatory hell of making bad decisions in the offseason that's going to only stunt their growth. Therefore, I'm going to go on a limb and say the Panthers are going to be your NFC South champions. I think there's enough of a sample set there to really just lay that out there and with every bit of my confidence and say it with my chest, if you will. What do you think, Swift?
You're getting me excited, man. You're getting me excited. I don't like that.
We want to be pessimists right now. We don't want to feel good about this thing, man. Like we said in our therapy session in the cold open, like there's nothing but there's like a lot of deep rooted trauma here from the end of the Rivera era to the Matt Rule years to that cup of coffee Frank Reich had with us, and then now Dave Canales. I mean, we did have a little bit of trauma with Bryce opening up the first two games and looking like he didn't belong in the league. There's trauma. There's real trauma. Like I'm smiling about it. There's trauma.
Oh, there's trauma. The only thing I will say to that, though, I absolutely agree with the point with Tampa Bay. I think I don't feel like they got better, aging wise, like all the whole nine. I think you've made really good points. With the coaching, they didn't really add that much. The only thing I would
say it
go left with was Atlanta. That you had me surprised with that.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at the take. I think down the stretch it's going to hurt them. I think they get way too aggressive draft. Even the year they traded a couple years ago when they traded up to get Bijan.
Yeah,
they're just very aggressive for names.
Yeah,
Not
I agree.
not saying Bijan's just a name. I mean, he can
He,
ball, but
he's a baller. He's a
I
baller.
mean, a guy like Jalen Walker, who we were all expecting to get. I mean,
Yeah.
no one else had any other team getting him in the top 10 aside from us. So I think you
Didn't
get
have a top 10 grade. He did not have a top 10 grade in most draft, and they only had him going to us because I felt like it was easy for the national pundits to go, "Hey, Carolina needs defense, and we have this kind of a semi-unicorn athlete in Jalen Walker. He's a little undersized, but man, can he ball?" And Carolina didn't see it. I mean, if you don't see it for anybody else, how do you see it for us?
yeah.
So,
I
yeah, I agree.
think I just think with their age, I think with them being a young, flashy team, I think that's what could give us trouble because
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it'll
even
be
just
fun.
seeing him,
It'll be fun
yeah.
over the next few years beating them.
Oh, I mean, I sure hope so. I hope we have their number. I mean, we've
Yeah,
gotten the best of them, almost every, I mean, we split. I think it was I think we've split with them almost every year.
pretty much
The
every year. We
last,
haven't been there in a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can think of, but
Maybe the 2-14 year. Is it 2-14? Maybe the 2-14 year, because I don't think we beat them that year.
yeah, no, I don't think
When we
so.
should have had the number one pick, but let's not talk about that. Although we have finished paying that debt. I saw another a graphic say that we have finally paid for paid the debt for getting the Bryce Young and
The Bryce trade, yeah, I did
yeah,
see that finally.
yeah, yeah.
It's about time. I don't want
Well,
to hear about it no more.
no, me either. Me either. Well, my man, we have hit our 5 top stories going into the Carolina Panthers 2025 OTAs. I think we hit them all in the head. Do you have any surprise or bonus stories you want to go over?
No, I wish I had a
All right.
story. I'll have a story for next episode. I'll
I
make
like
sure I
it.
got a
I
story
like
for
it.
next
I
episode.
like it. I like it. Well, we're going to remind you one more time. We enjoy what we do. We love talking Panthers, and hopefully you're getting that vibe from us as we're sitting here bantering back and forth about our beloved Carolina Panthers, for good and for bad. All right. So what we need you to do is we need you to like this video. Hit that like button, please. We need you to subscribe. And we also want you to comment. Comment and tell us what you're looking forward to finding out most when this OTA starts. And then while you're doing all of that, again, we got about 72% of those people looking at our videos are not subscribers. We are opening our door. Go ahead and click that the subscribe button, and then hit the bell notification. So, hey, listen, so you know that we have released a video. So you're not going to go look for it. And with all of that, I think that we've hit the end of this episode, my friend. How you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I think you said the 72%, that got me because that is crazy. That is a lot of people that are tuning in, even for a few minutes watching, and you guys aren't subscribed. So
Come on,
I don't know what's going on
subscribe.
with that, but
Come on. Hey, I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I believe we may be the fastest growing Carolina Panthers channel because we've grown 20% in the last 3 weeks. You go find another Carolina Panthers channel that's grown 20%. All right, so I'm gonna put it out there. All right, so I'm gonna say it with my chest. Fastest growing Carolina Panthers channel out there. Go subscribe. All right, because we have great takes. We are on Twitter. We're on Instagram. All right, go take a look. We're always posting stuff. We're always forwarding information. Follow us. Come on, follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We have reels. All right, we have Facebook reels. You're gonna find the reel in this episode. I'm already got an idea what I'm using for as a reel in this episode. But with that said, hey, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep pounding.
you guys stay safe, stay blessed. Most importantly, keep pounding.